Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth should change, though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumult. There's a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of the city, it shall not be moved. God will help it when the morning dawns. The nations are in an uproar, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come behold the works of the Lord. See what desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes war cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. Be still. Know that I am God. I am exalted among the nations. I am exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. God of Jacob is our refuge. Psalm 46 is a psalm. What we have are the lyrics, the poetry. What we lack are the musical notes. But it was a song sung in the temple, but also, just like us, hummed outside the temple as the Israelites labored in whatever task they were trying to complete. Like the spirituals of our ancestors, those spirituals were hummed as they labored in the fields, in the house, trying to complete the task of building the capital. The lyrical poetry functions even as our own poetry. Poetry tries to convey more than what the words say. It tries to reach beyond the mind to the very depth of the soul, to the emotions that are the spiritual framework of our being. This song is so strikingly relevant to our times, for it speaks about uncertainty and fear. And we are in a period of uncertainty and fear that is unimaginable in the scope of modern life. The writer of Psalm 46 joins us on this plane of life. The context, there is some serious trouble in the land. The news is dire. It's not rumor or innuendo. This is not about lies disguised as fake news or alternative news. This is a real crisis. Anxiety and uncertainty are wound together, and the result is a heart racing in panic that stymies reason and squeezes hope out of existence. All this is laid at the feet of this poet, prophet, priest. Someone comes and says to him, "We are in serious trouble." His response is not to panic. It's to slam the door on panic with a statement of unbending principle. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in the time of trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Though the earth should change, the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumults. There's a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. We will not fear. And then he goes on to describe the worst case scenario. The mountains are shaking. Now, in those days, the mountains were believed to hold down the firmament of the earth. And they were also believed to be the pillars that held up the sky. So what he's saying is that both earth and sky are shaking and the world is falling apart. And at the very center of that world is the holy city, Jerusalem. And in that holy city, there is a life-giving river. Water in a manner which crops can grow, people can drink. So even if the city is under siege by a foreign power, a foreign army, the people can sustain themselves, and so they do not have to worry. I don't know what tune this psalm was sung to, but I imagine it had some lyrical reassuring melody that match the words and images of faith. A faith that dispels fear, and a soothing music that calms the state of mind of the people. We are in uncertain times and in fearful times. Just a quick look at what is happening in this pandemic, a worldwide epidemic on every continent on the face of the globe. The stock market is in a plunge, not a spiral downward, has plunged in the last 2 weeks. The unknown nature of this coronavirus, this COVID-19, has public health officials very, very nervous. They don't know what to expect. The fragile nature of our healthcare system is on public display. Not enough beds, not enough testing kits, not enough supplies. The federal response has been anemically slow and ineffective. But that's to be expected when the sign on the resolute desk of the commander-in-chief, which used to read, "The buck stops here," has been replaced with another sign, "I take no responsibility." Thank God there are a small but forward-thinking group of governors who are taking responsible action for the care of their citizens. To put it another way, this time that we are in is a real-life drama of the boy who cried wolf. You remember the story? The boy was supposed to guard the sheep. He wanted some excitement in his life, and so he repeatedly told the lie that the wolf is coming. People would come out, and there would be no wolf, and he would just laugh, change his mind, change his words. And he did it enough times so that people stopped paying attention. He had no credibility. So many lies, so much deception, bankrupt men of courage and wisdom. Now the wolf is at the door, and our society has been turned upside down. It did not come from a caravan of immigrants, it came from a virus. Walls do not keep out viruses. Now we are locked in something we never imagined. Can't go and gather in crowds. The whole sporting entertainment industry is shut down. Schools shut down. We cannot even gather in worship. You have to spend 2 weeks in self-quarantine just so that we can not overwhelm the system as this virus spreads. Fear has gripped this nation, and fear has gripped us. Fear grips a nation. When fear grips you, all you can see is despair. See, fear fools your memory. Cannot think straight, cannot act decisively. You fail to see the beauty in the fading light of a dusky sunset, or the majestic magenta light of a new morning sunrise. Some are despairing and fearful that our lives have been so disrupted that they will never again come together. We are sharing with you with the technology of our day, because we cannot gather normal worship. But God is still with us. We're unable to gather and hold hands in prayer, but He still hears the prayers of an humble and contrite heart. We cannot hug each other and put an arm of support or a push of encouragement. But God can still help us. When we cannot hold ourselves, He holds us. We miss the hugs of family and friends and those around us as we gather in worship. When we miss that environment, He is still there with His arms that are long enough and wide enough and high enough to hold all of us. And then faith Faith can help us. Faith dispels fear. Our faith says to us, do not be afraid. And let us participate in the strategy to quell the surge and the panic. We must. Let's not give in to the fear, but by faith, give your neighbor a phone call. Check in. We're hoarding toilet paper and food, but be circumspect, because if this thing lasts, we're going to have to share. God will provide so that we might share. CDC has instructed us that we should be very careful and wash our hands often, and we should. But I say to you, wash our hands, but not like Pilate. Pilate washed his hands to absolve himself of any responsibility. Pilate washed his hands to say he was done. No, wash our hands like a surgeon washes his hands as she prepares to go in and take care of the patient. That's how we wash our hands, so that we might take care of one another. Psalm 46 concludes, come, behold the works of the Lord. See what desolations he has brought in the earth. He makes wars cease to the very end of the earth. He breaks the bow, shatters the spear, he burns the shields with fire. Our God is a God of peace and reaches all over the world and will take all of those weapons of destruction away. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. That means take a breath. That means stop. That means forget about the fear that is at the door. Don't let despair in. Let God in. Know that he is the one that is in ultimate control. I'm exalted among the nations. I am exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob. Not that minor God of fear. The God of Jacob is our refuge. So I encourage you this morning to share this brief message with others and live in such a way that if you feel anxiety rising, just stop and think about God, who has brought our ancestors through, who has brought you through, who is keeping us, guiding us, and will never, ever forsake us. Let us pray. Lord, in these moments we come to you. Humble heads, bowed down hearts. We know, O Lord, that this world is in turmoil that we never expected. You said in times like this, there is a Savior. You are still watching over our down sitting and our uprising. You're still seeing to our going out and coming. Be with those, Lord, who are even under the sound of my voice. Bless those who feel that hopelessness is what we must give into. Give them hope. Still our hearts when we are anxious. Lord, I pray for the leadership of this country, that they will hear your voice, which says, do not panic, be still, and know that the God of life, justice, peace, and grace is with us always. May their decisions be wise. May their decisions be guided by your heart that looks to the least of the least, the sick, the prison, those on the margins, those in need the most. May the God of grace, peace, and love continue to be with you and keep you. In Jesus' name, amen.